Hi, I'm Eric Junker. The unit that we present is the 5th Armored Division, Combat Command R. In particular, 46th Armored Infantry, but not exclusive to that. This all started about 10 years ago with 4 guys and 1 half-track. And it kind of grew from there. And we learned how to move our vehicles. We learned how to present in a big way, and as we got more vehicles, we learned how to move bigger and better things. Personally, we take a lot of pride in our presentation. We take a lot of pride in participating with the spectators and getting them right up into the vehicles. And not just that, but getting out and playing safe and pushing harder than other people, but still being safe. We really want to show this aspect of the United States Army the battle-changing, aggressive way that it was properly used. We like to think that we always put on a good show.
Hi, I'm Tim Wakeman from 5th Armored Division, and I am Cookie. What you're looking at here is a pair of half-track camp stoves. The one on the left is a very, very rare prototype. It's called an X141. It was actually one that was issued to 5th Armored Division when they were in Southern California.
Pine Camp.
Oh, at Pine Camp. Okay, we actually have the camp. And they liked them so much they didn't give them back when they didn't actually didn't issue it as a service field issue. They said, well, we're going to keep them. So they were designed to fit perfectly underneath the seat of half-track. Now, what we normally do when we're running with just our half-tracks is we'll cook out of what's called a 10-in-1. And it's a cardboard box, and the objective of a 10-in-1 is it feeds 10 men for 1 day that you can cook on a small camp stove and be able to feed 10 guys. Well, today we've got a whole lot more, and more importantly, we've got our heavy artillery piece. When you're dealing with an artillery setup, you would actually have a whole lot more time. Now, this is what you would see, to the left to the right. We also have our immersion stoves, but we cook. We really like to cook. The nice thing about armor is you have a lot of place to put things. Pots and pans fit everywhere. Not only pots and pans fit everywhere, but you're right near the supply line, especially if you're with artillery, because artillery needs a ton of shell. So if artillery needs a ton of shell, bring me a ton of cans. And in addition to a ton of cans, you also have a lot of fresh stuff. Little does anybody realize, the more research that I've done, the more I've found that the U.S. Army was absolutely fantastic at moving fresh goods, fresh product, fresh produce, fresh meat across the Atlantic faster than it could spoil. So pretty much everybody who was near a supply line had a fresh-cooked, home-cooked meal every single day. The spam and eggs routine is not what the Armored Division saw. That's what your forefront, airborne and, your frontline infantry that have been stuck out in the weeds for 2.5 months and have nobody coming to support, but you can't stick a half-track in the same place for 2.5 months. They run, they move. When they need fuel, when they need ammo, they run to a supply line and they get food. That's what I present, is food.
That being because a triangle division carried multiple disciplines and was a self-contained organization. And the concept of married pairs and unifying groups from the different disciplines, artillery, engineers, infantry, tanks, cavalry, into groups that regularly work together right down to platoon level was something pioneered by General Oliver in the 5th Armored Division and taken up eventually by the entire Army. So we actually the mix, by picking a triangle division and picking this particular one, the mix that we present is actually extremely accurate. The 5th Armored Division was the last regular Army armored division mustered during the war. Everything else was mustered essentially out of draftees. It was also originally envisioned as a heavy armored division, but was restructured in 1942 along with a number of others. It became fully active in the European theater with the activation of 3rd Army on 29 July, or I'm sorry, actually August 1st. However, they were already on station and in the front line by 29 July. And they led the 3rd Army in the long run down through Le Mans all the way around to Falaise, and were stopped just short of connecting with, and were at the head of the pincers that were stopped just short of closing with the Canadians. Following that, they were handed over to 1st Army and moved north, jumping rivers all the way past Paris, participated in the initial liberation of Paris, though not the parading. They were the first unit into Belgium, 1st unit into Luxembourg, and 1st unit into Germany. And they penetrated into Germany nearly 18 miles to a place called Bitburg. Unfortunately, there was something else going on up north at the time. They first entered Germany on September 6th, and nearly the entire division was in Germany. The only people guarding the river crossing were the flak companies and the engineers. Unfortunately, they plowed into the staging area for the Battle of the Bulge just as the SS units started to arrive. And unfortunately, 5AD had to was pulled out because the overall support went to the attack up north, and they again ignominiously were denied their glory moment. From there, they deployed north with 1st Army and participated in the close of the Hürtgen Forest in most of the key battles that finally turned that, and received a Presidential Unit Citation for that. In particular, the 47th Armored Infantry. From there, they were handed to 9th Army and participated in the drive of 9th Army into Germany, and then were handed from 9th Army to the British 2nd Army, at which point we started drawing our detachments not from a U.S. Army Corps, but from the British 70th Armored Division. Hence our sexton over here, from the 1st Lotharians and Border Yeomanry. And 5AD was the unit at the spearhead of that British Army that stopped closest to Berlin. Again, pulled short of Berlin.